Okay guys, here we go again. It's Friday night 9 ball. This is our first round match between Blackjagged, who from now on we'll call Boris, and izom, or izom, we might call him either or. And again, I think we have an all-German clash if I remember correctly. Let's just have a quick double check. I know Boris is German, yeah, izom's German as well. It's double elimination, it's multiple money ball handicapping. If you've watched the videos before, you must know what that means now. And the only slight difference, well, everything's the same. We've got rack money on, which means that the 9 ball pulls the rack up the table by about 4 or 5 inches. So the 9 ball is in the middle of the rack, but the 9 ball itself spots on the head spot of the triangle. So that means that the whole rack moves up the table. And we've also got spot money on, which means that any of the players' money balls that are potted in the break should be spotted after the break, although we do think there's a slight problem with that function. And finally, the additional thing that we've added is that call money is on tonight, which means that the 9 ball has to be called into a pocket. You can't slop the 9 ball. So while this first rack is underway, in fact, one thing to point out, player 1, who is Blackjagged, is getting 7 and out, which means that he has the 7, the 8 and the 9 ball as his money balls. He puts any of those balls during the rack with a legal shot, and he wins the rack. So this rack is still in early stages. We'll have a quick look at the brackets. I'll just magnify them slightly, purely for my benefit, if I can get it to work. Wait me a minute, that's us. If we look at the bracket, we can see Mr. Bill is playing Tony Sam. We've got Tarek, who's from Egypt, who has a bye to the second round. We've got the match that we're watching at the moment between Blackjagged and izom. We've got Purple Dynamite, who's playing Chad Mercer. We have Larry, who also has a bye. Stefan is playing Koyol. DJ Simon is playing, well, I don't know what that means. That's Dr. Tys, D-R-T-Y-S. I don't know how you pronounce that. And we've got Drache 1980, who also has a bye. And remember, double elimination means that if you lose a match on this side of the bracket, you go over to this side of the bracket and you have a second chance at getting through the tournament. We will rejoin the match. Now, where are we? We've got Boris at the table. He's on the 6 ball with ball in hand. And the difficult shot here is going to be the 8 ball, which is tight in that right rail. So again, what do we keep telling you? The most important thing in this game is angles. And this is going to be difficult to hold for that 8 ball. Now the shot I would play here is to bank that 8 down towards the 9 slowly, so that it tries to finish on the end rail there. But now Boris has been forced to call. And I don't think any of the two of them have looked at the tournament information, because it tells you call money ball is on. I'll just tell them. That clears up the confusion. So now izom is at the table. He's got a difficult shot in the 8. I don't know what pocket he's going to play this into. It looks as if he's taking it into the top right as we look. And that's well played, but of course no chance of getting on the 9 at that pace. He needed to hit that an awful lot harder, and if he had, he would have got the cue ball down and he would have had a cut at this 9. So now he's going to have to either play a safe or call the bank. And he got that all wrong. He slid off the 9 there. I don't know whether it was a double kiss, but that should be the first rack to Boris. Oh dear. Oh dear, Boris. I think you maybe had too much to eat at your dinner. That was a bad 9 ball. So that's made life easy for izom. He just needs to clip this in. Just needs to watch he doesn't put any spin in the cue ball here, because he'll roll into that corner pocket. And that's one that's gotten away there. That really should have been 1-0 to Blackjagged. That looks a good break. Balls are going all over the place, but there's only one place they ain't going, and that's into a pocket. So it's a dry break. I don't think there's a shot on here. So it looks, I mean, the safety shot I would play would be to cut that 1 ball between the 5 and the 7 and run up and down the table with the cue ball. And I think that's a weak one. And this is why you've got to visualise shots. You've got to see safety shots. And the safer shot was to cut that 1 ball in between the 5 and the 7 onto that left side rail, so that it tries to finish in the middle of that top rail, and then you keep the cue ball as far away from it as possible. And I suppose, you know, some people see those shots, some people don't. Remember, it's a 30-second shot clock with a 15-second extension, so you've got time to think and look at those shots. But anyway, izom blasted the 1 ball, and of course at that pace they're not going to go in. A nice little kiss off the 8 there came in handy. Now we might see a 4-9 combo. It's not easy, because a 9 is tight on that end rail there, and you've really got to push that 4 perfectly onto the 9 for it to go in. But again, I think Boris is having a bad start to the evening, but he's got lucky. He's got the cover on the 3 ball. And izom looking to come off the left rail, the end rail, the right side rail, and down into the corner. There's a big margin of error here, so if he gets his first line right, he should be okay to come close to that 3 ball. But he's underdone it, and that's going to be ball in hand. Although he's hit the 3, he hasn't hit a rail after it. Got to drive a ball to a rail. So I don't know whether Boris realises, but he has got ball in hand. Yes, he does. So remember, he only has to pot the 3, the 4, the 5 and the 6, and then any of those balls, remember the 7, the 8 and the 9 are his money balls. So as soon as he gets to the 7, if he can sink that one, he'll be on the board. Now this shot's easy. You just need to drop the 6 in, a little bit of left English just to push the cue ball off the end rail and out. Could have done me a wee bit more, but he should get this. Oh dear, 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 that's 3 bad misses, Boris. What you doing? A very ropey start. And that's really, well, 2 racks that have been handed in a plate here, but this is still not easy. He's got to watch, because of the angle he's got to just push this across. He's played that well. And a nice delicate little cut along the rail. And izom is up by 2 racks to 0. if he gets this. Well, I can only say that's 2 racks that got away, because there's no way that izom deserves to be up 2-0. He's not done anything except pot the balls that's required, but he hasn't really had to work to win a rack yet. And he gets a ball in the break as well. And now this is a very small window to get into here for this 2 ball after the 1. And has he played that hard enough? Yes, he has. And now the problem is the traffic that's down in the corner here. He's going to have to try and force a way out, and he couldn't do it without colliding with the 9. And this needs a delicate little drop into the middle, but he could play it with a bit more pace and come off the top rail onto the side rail. Depends whether he's going to play this with English or just a plain ball, but that would be the shot. He's played it plain ball, and now of course he's got far too much angle. He's going to be colliding maybe with the 9 ball. He might be able to just avoid it, then again he might just kiss into the 6 as well, so he's really hoping for a bit of luck here for position. And that's not bad. He managed to avoid colliding with any of them there, and he's got a shot. Just natural angle here for the cue ball to come off the bottom side rail and back out. Well, he tried to stun it when the plain shot was there, and that's why he's missed the 6. It's always about keeping it simple. Why do the more difficult shot when the simple shot is staring you there in the face? And again, Boris didn't want to collide with that 8 ball, so now he's got a fairly straight 7. So this ball to win the rack. Well, in it goes, and at last Blackjagged gets himself finally on the scoreboard. izom still leads by 2 racks to 1. We've got a ball in a break. 7 ball goes into the right middle, and of course the 7 ball is spotted. Oh dear, another bad one. He's totally lost his touch here. So the combo for izom, 2 onto the 6, and again the difficulty is knowing where the 2 ball's going to go. Well, that's finished okay, and he's got to come across the table twice here, and again hopefully avoid the 7 ball. Well, that's the problem. He's now finished the south side of the 3 ball, and he's got no shot unless he wants to play an ambitious combo onto that 5 ball. And this is where a player like izom now has the pressure on him, because he knows now that should he make a mistake, his opponent's only got to pot couple of balls to get to his money ball. Well, he got the combo. Unfortunately, he's hooked himself on the 3, and we're going to go for a long jump shot here. This is a difficult one. Big distance to travel, and he played it well, and he's got position on that 4 as well. That's an excellent shot. That deserves him to win the rack. Now this is where a shot can go wrong. It looks a simple 7 ball into the middle. The problem though is getting enough pace in the cue ball to come off the rail and out and give himself a shot in this 7 to get back for the 9. Let's have a look down the line here. Well, he's a bit straight, and if he draws this too hard he could go into the corner pocket here. And he's underhit it, which is the right idea. And again, that was well played. He didn't get deep into the cue ball. It could have been an embarrassing shot there. But you see the line the cue ball was taken, that was going to head down to that pocket. And so izom goes back into a 2-rack lead. It's a race to 7, remember. And this time he's came up dry. And that's good play. He's got izom tight onto that 7 ball, and I don't think he can make the angle to get to this one at all. Is he going to try and use that middle jaw? Yeah, that was a bit ambitious. I could see he's thinking there, but that was like 1 in 100. That would have worked. But now, this is where the player getting the handicap now has the pressure, because he's got ball in hand. All the balls aren't there for the taking because the 2 ball is in a very inaccessible area, especially to get it to a pocket. And the way he's playing this 1 ball, he's going to hit that 6. No. He's played it soft. Does that go past? Yes, it does. Goes past the 8. I never even noticed that. And he's held it well for the 3, although he's run a wee bit far. Let's have a look at that angle. That's a nasty angle. But the cue ball will come out nice for the 4. And that's a nice pace. Now, this is where the concentration needs to stay on the ball. He just needs to roll the 4 in. He's on the 5. He can roll through with the cue ball and back out to get this 6. And now the crucial shot. Now there's an easy shot just to stun past that 9 and leave the 7 into the left middle. That would be the shot. The difficulty is judging if he's going to collide with this 9. See, he's stunned it way too hard. That needed a much more delicate touch. So now he's got a really tough call on this 7 ball into the bottom left hand corner. Needs to watch the cue ball. And he's left it on. Oh dear. That was a bad one. And that's gifted Blackjagged this 5th rack. Just a simple roll in the 7. And that's now reduced the deficit again to just a 1 rack. izom still leading by 3 racks to 2. And we've got no ball in the break. And there's a shot here in this one. If it goes past the 7, which it looks as if it does, cue ball's going to go round the corner, back up into the middle of the table, maybe even get across to the left hand side for this 2 ball. Well, he's really put a bit of meat into that shot, and he's got himself on the 2. A nice little delicate roll in the 2, just to leave this 3 down the rail. Again, absolutely no need whatsoever for that shot. Has he still got a shot in the 3? Well, no, and that was just the wrong shot to play. No way in this earth should have been powering that, and he's just a plain simple roll, and the cue ball had a shot on the 3, but he's managed to dig himself out a hole again there. That was a well played shot, and he's now got another one to dig himself out of. Hooked on the 4, and you see how things can very quickly go wrong when you play the wrong shot. You only need to play one wrong shot and you end up playing 3 or 4 difficult shots to try and keep digging yourself out the same hole, and somewhere along the line it's going to go wrong. But again, he's pulled out a great jump shot. He's working hard to win this rack, but it's all been self-inflicted. This needs to keep running, and that's run nicely. Now the cue ball here, if he draws the cue ball with a bit of right hand English, he could come round the corner. Well, he's managed to stun and hold it. I thought there was too much angle on it there to hold it, but he's played it well. And now we've got another problem. Again, a difficult 8 ball going into a blind pocket, and it looks as if he's going to take it into the bottom or the top left as we look, but if he hits this firm, there's an in off on here. He looks as if he's trying to draw this really hard. Oh, that was a great shot. Well, this this is probably the if I look back in this recording, this is the first rack that izom's really had to work hard to win it. So he certainly deserves to win it, no doubt about that. But he left himself an awful lot of hard work to actually do it, but he's actually completed it, so well done. And he now leads by 4 racks to 2, although he scratched straight in on into top left here with the cue ball. And Boris has got ball in hand in the 1 ball, and the 8 is over the left middle. And I don't know whether he's looked around the table now. Why isn't he taking ball in hand on the 1 onto the 8? And he'll probably live to regret that. He can prove me wrong, but he should have knocked that 8 ball in with ball in hand here. And this is just a delicate little cut along the rail. And it goes. Well, if he wasn't prepared to take that ball in hand, 1 ball onto the 8 to win the rack, then he's got to actually come through on the deal. He's got to win this rack by running the table, and this is where it could go wrong. A nasty little cut along the rail, but he's played it well. Now, how's that 8 ball sitting against that jaw? Oh, he's now nominate. I mean, I keep forgetting the 7's his money ball as well. So he doesn't need to worry about the 8 ball. Well, he's actually done it, but that was, again, a silly thing to do. When you're playing in a tournament, you've got ball in hand and a chance in a combo and a ball that's hanging over the pocket, then you take it. And Boris has actually returned a favour here. He's broken scratched as well. So the match score now is izom leading by 4 racks to 3. And if Boris finally gets his act together, we could still have a match on here. But izom's got ball in hand. The problem ball we can see is down at the bottom of the screen. The 5 ball is just tucked there on the rail, but it goes past the 9 ball no problem. But it's getting onto it that's going to be the issue. Because look where the 4 ball is. The 4 ball's up at the top left, so again needs to get onto that 4 ball with an angle to come up the table, and he needs to play this well to hold the cue ball. And you see he's played it too soft and he's got no control over the cue ball there. That needed to be dug into to actually hold it the bottom side of that 8 ball. But when you do something like that, what you should follow up with is a good safety, and that's what he's done. And that shows you he's thinking about what he's doing, which many players don't. If you can't get on the shot and there isn't a shot there, well, the next best shot is a good safety. Bury the cue ball somewhere, or bury the object ball somewhere, and that way you force your opponent into making the mistake, which Blackjagged has done. And it's ball in hand again. Now this time you can put the cue ball anywhere to have a shot in this 4 ball, so that he can just roll through here for the 5, but he's got to roll through far enough. Let's have a look at that. Well, that's very fine. I think he can just get there. He can just get there. It looks very tight to make the potting angle. That might have been a foul. Was it? No, he got it clean. But again, he's no shot in the 6, and if he's got any chance of keeping this run going, he's going to have to bank this 6 ball. Well, missed it on the way up and hit it on the way back. That was a mistake. And now this is where the multiple money ball handicapping can really work, because izom's made the error. Blackjagged's, all he has to do is pot the 6 and the 7 to tie the match back up at 4 racks all. Don't force this in, just roll it down. And in it goes. So now we're back to square one. Four racks all, dry break, no shot in the 1 ball for izom, so he's just going to push out. Well, he's pushed out to a bank. That really wasn't a very good, a very well thought out push out, but has he done that deliberately to leave some bait there for Blackjagged? We'll soon find out whether he takes the bait. And the answer to that is no. And he's used a 2 ball there as cover, but that 1 ball, I think he'll be smacking into that 2 ball any second now for the combo. Well, he didn't smack it, he played at a nice pace. Well, this will be an absolute miracle if he gets onto this 3 ball, and anyway he's got to move balls here and hope to finish on the 3. There's no way the 3's going to pot anywhere. And he's tried to get the spin into it. Well, let's have a look from this side. Well, this looks pretty good for a combo on the 4. And in it goes, and he's held the cue ball. 3 balls still hanging over the pocket. Once again, the problem ball happens to be a ball that's stuck in the rail, and that's the 8. Now let's have a look at what he's got in this 7. Well, he's the wrong angle on the 7, so he's going to have to leave the 8 ball into this top left as we look, unless he forces through with left hand English to send the cue ball out and above the 8, and that's what he's done. But he's going to scratch the middle. That's a disaster, and that's where this is what's good about the multiple money ball. The player that's the higher ranked player makes the mistake, but he's going to get punished, and I think that's 2 racks in a row. Two gifts there for Blackjagged, and he finds himself in the lead. And in goes the 5 ball. Something else went in. I didn't quite catch what one it was, but the 5 went into the bottom right. And oh, is that all that went in? I thought I heard something else drop. And this is going to be a 2, 3, 6 ball combo. But with no real idea where the 2 balls are going to go. And he's hooked himself on it. And I would suggest the old hit and hope here might be the order of the day. Just bang it off the side rail with left hand English. Well, he didn't have any English on it. In fact, I think he tried to hit the edge of that too on the way across. So izom, ball in hand. For some reason deciding he's going to play a 2-7 combo, which is something I don't quite understand. But oh no, the 2 went past the 7. Oh, I'm definitely getting tired. Thought he was going to play a combo there. I didn't think the 2 went past. So the 8 ball is sitting on the head spot there by the looks of it. And again, that looks the wrong angle. And he's got more work to do with the cue ball here. And he's played that well. Don't know whether you can hear, but this is November the 6th, but we've still got fireworks going off outside. So izom manages to clear up that rack, and we're now back to all square again. 5 racks all, and in goes the Maybe the 6 ball I think they went in. Yep. And he's finished with a shot on this one, and as long as the cue ball goes behind that 4 ball, he should get it up the table, but he's got to avoid blocking himself off with the 5 and the 8 here to get to this 2. Well, that was a great shot. I didn't notice, but he'd actually called the 9 combo. That was excellent. I just saw it up in the top left hand corner of the screen. He'd called the 1 ball, 9 ball combination shot. And that was again well played. He's now on the hill, 6 racks to 5. But no shot in the 1 here. So this time, maybe looking for a better push out. Now obviously that 3 ball sitting in the top rail there is not in a potable position, so some movement's going to have to be done on that ball before this rack's over. And that's a foul. He clipped the 5 on the way down to that 1 ball. And izom's called a 1-9 combo again, but this is really ambitious. But I suppose it's worth going for because the 3's tied up. You know, there's not a lot of damage going to be done here if he misses this combo. And that looks very good. Well, that was excellent. 2 great combination 1 ball, 9 ball combos in the last 2 racks, and the match is over as quick as that. Izom wins the match by 7 racks to 5 and carries on into round 2. And Blackjagged, I'm afraid he's going to have his work cut out. He's going to have to work the hard way to the final. He goes over to the 1 loss side.